Se7en is one of the most iconic movies of the 1990s. It's brutal, gritty, and easily one of David Fincher's best movies. Its story was unique, haunting, and most importantly, standalone. So why did New Line Cinema try to make a sequel? This is the story of Ei8ht. The year was 1995. David Fincher's psychological thriller Se7en released to positive reviews and a warm reception from audiences. The movie followed Morgan Freeman's William Somerset and Brad Pitt's David Mills as detectives, trying to stop a killer who used the 7 deadly sins as inspirations for each of his acts of violence. Very important to note, nobody in Se7en had superpowers. The movie was a smash hit for New Line, but shockingly, despite this success, there were no murmurs of sequels or any sort of other material set in that world. Everybody was happy to just let the movie sit with its very definitive ending, at least for a few years. Fast forward to 2002, when writer Ted Griffin submitted a screenplay to New Line titled Solace. This movie was about a doctor with psychic superpowers who helps the FBI track down a serial killer who also has psychic superpowers. Now, if you don't understand how any of this could even relate to Se7en, congratulations, neither do I. But that's not how the people at New Line saw it, because upon reading this script, they were convinced that they would be able to take that story and somehow convert it into a fully fleshed sequel to Se7en. At this point, the script was rewritten, now called Ei8ht. And instead of starring this new psychic character, William Somerset took center stage once again. But here's the twist. He was now a psychic. Again, very important to note, nobody in Se7en had superpowers. Somewhere in this mess of pre-production, movement on the project stalled out, with a likely stumbling block being the introduction of psychic superpowers to a world and character that was never intended to have superpowers in the first place. 7 years later, when asked about Ei8ht, David Fincher, who was always very against Se7en becoming a franchise and never even wanted Solace to become Ei8ht in the first place, had this to say: "I would have less interest in that than I would having cigarettes put out in my eyes." And at that point, everybody thought that it was the end for Ei8ht, and it was, until the early 2010s. At some point, the script for Ei8ht reverted back to Solace, and Solace reared its head again in 2016 as a completed movie. And upon watching that movie, it's clear that Se7en was definitely a huge inspiration in terms of visuals and tone, and it's unknown how much of this is a carryover from it being a Se7en sequel at some point versus what the original script had. But I will say, it never even comes close to reaching the dizzying heights of what Se7en was able to accomplish. If this movie was related to Se7en, it would be a legacy tarnishing level disaster. In short, thank goodness this movie is an Ei8ht. But that's the story of Solace, Ei8ht, and New Line's horrible ideas. So until next time, thank you so much for watching, have a beautiful day, and stay Hemmas.